Hello, 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 and welcome to the Coaxum Report. My name is Terry Coaxum, and I am super happy to be joined today by Sandra. Sandra, pronounce your last name for me.
My last name is Maitland, Sandra Maitland.
Maitland. Maitland. And I met Sandra by way of another sister from another mister. I'm so happy because she is a part of Global Decor. Her story is super amazing, and that's why I invited Sandra on today. So before we get started, Sandra, we are this is the Coaxum Report, and you can catch us on Amazon Fire TV, on Android TV. You can also catch us on Apple TV, on Roku, and on our TV network. And we're simultaneously on WSTX Bloomberg. I encourage all of you that are listening to please, download our app so you can catch us every Wednesday at 1:30. So, Sandra, I'm glad to have you on the show on the Coaxum Report. I always ask my leaders to come on and talk about their barriers, their best practices, and their big ideas. And I want to start today with just talking to you, your story about global decor and how you're traveling the world and helping underprivileged communities. And so before we get there, who is Sandra Maitland and how did you do this fabulous work right now?
yes. Well, Sandra Maitland has had many iterations. Originally, I'm a hospital administrator for 22
Oh,
years.
wow.
And yeah,
That's right.
and while I enjoyed the process of, dealing with people in hospitals and health centers, working with mostly the poor and impoverished communities, I felt that, I needed to do more. I was unfortunate, although it took me in a direction that I did not know, to have had cancer, and it took me out of the hospital environment. But then, my husband and I began to travel different places in the world. And the more I traveled, the more I encountered women who had, living in similar impoverished situations, but who were producing things that you would not have imagined, in their small environments. And some of it came out of a cultural experience within their environment. Others, it just came out of the necessity to just produce what they do to support their families. So traveling was very, very illuminating for me, because when you step out
Nice.
of your familiar environment, you realize just how much the world offers in terms of
That's right.
information and lifestyle
That's
of people. So that's how I kind of inched over into global travel, as well as how it impacted my decision to begin to work with these global communities and acquire the things that they produce.
Well, first of all, I want to commend you on your proactive stance. I mean, getting cancer for anyone is hard. And so, what you're saying to me is that you were able to take that health scare and turn it into a whole new lifestyle. Like you were able to find a love and travel in a way that you never found it before. And the first, and so I just want all of my listeners that are listening in today to understand that your health is your wealth, right? And so if there is a situation where you find yourself going through something, look at Sandra's story and how amazing it is and how beautiful she is and the beautiful things that we're going to talk about today that she's able to accomplish by taking that next step and not letting her health be the reason why she didn't take it to the next level. Sandra, I want to talk to you a little bit about your biggest challenges, right? So, what are some of the biggest challenges that artists in these rural communities face when trying to bring their work to a global market? I know that there are several challenges that they face. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes it's just where they're located in remote areas. And so their exposure is not as great. And
Mm-hmm.
therefore, the lack of exposure really impacts their ability to see what is possible.
Wow.
So when people like myself come into communities like this
Mm-hmm.
and really respect the work that they do, and can see an opportunity that maybe they did not see, is a way that these artisans can find a way out, challenging though
Right.
it may be. When people come into your community and they see what you do and offer an opportunity, and they say yes, you can buy from me, or believe me, I have to barter very hard because because these women, and it's largely women that I deal with, these
Uh-huh.
women, their intention is to be able to assist, first of all, to be an economic engine for their family and for their community. But
That's
most
right.
of
That's
all, it's to be able to provide money that takes care or contributes to the health care and maintenance of their family, education, as well as food. You know, not
wow.
that their men do not produce also, but they produce differently.
That's
They,
right.
yeah, they produce differently. Like, for example, in San Blas, Panama, where the Kuna women produce the molas,
Mm-hmm.
MOLAS,
Mm-hmm.
the men would pick coconuts for distribution or, sale to Colombia.
Right. That's
And
right.
while they make money
So
in
they are
that way,
working together.
they're working
Right. So they're
together.
working together. Yes, they're working together. Oh my God, this is amazing. First of all, when I first spoke to you and you told me this story of how you were traveling globally and you talked about, the things that you're able to work with them on to bring here and to help them build wealth, to really help them sustain their families. I was so amazed by all the wonderful work that you're doing. And so I'm super happy to have you on today to try to talk
Mhm.
about this. I'm even I'm it brings my heart joy to understand that you're able to reach different communities in rural areas and be able to help them to prosper and to grow
Mhm.
based on your experience.
Experience.
So, what about the economic disparities and the impact and the ability of small businesses in these regions to thrive and grow? You're saying to me that they're making these beautiful pieces and you're able to help them to transform those pieces into sustainability, right? And so there's some economic disparities. I like to talk about a few of the barriers before we jump right into talking about some of the best practices and big ideas. And so I think about the infrastructure in some of these places, like no electricity and running water and reliable transportation and all of these things. And these artisans are still thriving on the land. Basically, they're taking things that they have access to and they're making them into beautiful pieces. So just trying to find out from you, to give us, I want you to walk us through this journey of how these economic disparities and the impact of that, these obstacles that they're facing, personally and they're encountering personally, turn into these beautiful pieces that they're able to sustain their families with. Just want to get a little bit into that because these are some of the barriers that other communities may not see as opportunities until they hear your story, Sandra, and what you're doing, and how you're doing it, that can really change their lives. So if you could just tell
Yes.
us a little bit about that, that would be great. And even some of the
Yes.
misconceptions, because I've heard a lot of misconceptions along the way as well.
Yes. Well, the Wunan and Imbera people, they
Hmm.
emanate from Colombia. And when there was, strife and war in Colombia, they came over to Panama in an area called Darien. And
Hmm.
Darien is a region that they occupied well before the Republic of Panama was formed.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
right? So when they came into Darien, they began to, their baskets, for example, are baskets that were utilitarian baskets, right?
Mhm, mhm,
And the chunga that they use, as well as
mhm,
the straw that would make the Panama hat, is
mhm.
drawn from extremely foreboding trees. They have to get the limbs off, strip it, dry it. And the tree has extremely big prickles on it, so it's really
When you say
difficult.
prickles, are you talking about like prickles
Like
like I would think
large,
of a
like a
rose,
rose
like a
bush,
rose?
right,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
very
yeah, yeah, yeah.
big, right?
Okay,
That has to be
okay.
cut and
Mhm,
stripped, and
Hmm.
put out to dry, and then they would sort in the forest, um, berries and other kinds of fruit, and different kinds of things that would cause them to make the strands colors, reds,
That's
blues, oranges, right? And this can be very, very, very difficult. So that's one
right.
of the things that that really provides, the color and the texture of the basket. It takes them a
Right.
long time to make the
It's
basket.
amazing.
And
That's
and when
amazing.
they make these baskets, they have to find markets for these baskets. So it becomes
Hmm.
really difficult. And they
Right.
also, Darien is in a place where when it rains, the whole place is flooded. So their huts are on sticks, and the men would make canoes in order to move their food and all of that. So I think there are a
Wow.
lot of challenges just to live in that community.
Absolutely. It sounds like it, but it sounds like that they are tenacious people, right? That they are determined that they're going to make a way out of what we consider no way at all. And so it's pretty wow, it's a pretty amazing story to understand with all of the barriers, with all of, the things that they have to go through. Think about
Yeah,
think
definitely.
about that being a painful experience, for that to be bigger than that, so big, and then they, they have fear of flooding, and they're still able to bring these beautiful baskets. I mean, I wish I would have asked you to like have one of the baskets so we can actually see it, so we can kind of visualize. Whoa, that's what I thought. I thought that's what you would show me. That is amazing. That is super, super amazing to know that beautiful, was created in discriminating circumstances. I mean, that's amazing. Oh my God. I just want to thank you for sharing that, because that gives my listeners an opportunity to understand, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what the obstacle is or what the challenge is, there's still an opportunity. And that's what I try to tell
Absolutely.
my business owners. There's always going to, with obstacles, there's going to be opportunities. There's going to be some obstacles along the way. I love to talk about is here. And then I love to jump into best practices and big ideas. So here you are, you find yourself, you're a healthcare administrator, you are doing everything that you can to make sure everyone else is well, and then you find out you get this cancer diagnosis, and you can make one or two decisions. You could go with the diagnosis, or you can move through the diagnosis. And you move through the diagnosis, you and your husband, and you love travel, and started traveling all over to these different places in the world, these rural areas, and meeting these wonderful artisans, and then taking what they were doing and help them be more sustainable. Because what I hear you saying is that once they went through all of this to get these baskets, they now have to find a market for it. But they don't have to find a market for it anymore, because here you are. You are
But
helping them to find a market for it, so their sustainability is ensured. And I mean, that's such a beautiful thing. I'm so, I'm taken back by it. This story in itself is amazing. It's amazing. I want to talk to you about some of the best practices. So what we have here is a healthcare administrator that is an entrepreneur that is traveling the globe. Global Decor, again, is the name of Sandra's business, of traveling the world, finding all these very beautiful, rare pieces in rural areas, and artisans that are really taking their circumstances and making it into opportunities. And then you're ensuring that they for their pieces. I want to talk to you a little bit now about some of the best practices. Now, how do you identify these artisans who lack a market, um, what are some of the steps you do to kind of identify them, because you're traveling all over, and I want you to give us some of the other places you talked about. Panama, I want you to kind of give us some ideas about some of these other areas. And you're identifying these artisans. They have a lack of a market, so these baskets are one thing, but you spoke to me about something that you put on your clothes. I think it was like what
Yes,
was the name? Yes, you
yeah,
talked
they're
about that. How are
molas.
you identifying? Yep. How are you identifying these talented
Well, the thing,
artisans?
when you're in
And,
Panama, a lot, that the Panamanians are proud about is the molas. But when you dig into the culture, you see how magnificent these women are. Now,
mhm, mhm,
the Kuna women live in an area off the coast of Panama. They have a quasi-governmental relationship with Panama, and they fought for
mhm,
that
mhm,
because
mhm.
I would say ancient group, right? Their practices, they wanted to keep that together, the way they practice
Right.
their religion, their culture.
Mhm,
So they mostly reside in an area called San Blas, which is
right.
off the coast of Panama. And
Mhm,
there, as a people, they take care of themselves, even though there are some things that in their relationship with Panama, they would get. Mostly, they do it themselves, right? Um, they
mhm.
they marry young, they have their children young, but the mola is something that they make with their hands. They start making it from the time they're 13, and every bit of it's made where different colors or different types of fabrics are used to create this tapestry that could represent their culture. It could be from the birds, the leaves, the animals, and they traditionally make it to wear on the front and back of their clothing. But when they realized
Wow.
that people are interested in these tapestries, they began to make it
That's
for
right. That's
sale.
right.
And
That's
if
right.
and
That's
then
right.
so I would then go in and I would take them thread and I would take them colored fabric. And so with the women that I've been able to, identify and do business with, we barter, so that and they're real hard at bartering just to ensure they don't play, but you get really authentic things. And so I
Right.
take it and reconstruct whatever I my needs are on bags, on pillows, those kinds of things. But
Wow.
the
Wow.
mola
So
is
you
you can.
so then you have a community that you work with. Then
Oh yeah,
you have,
definitely.
okay. So you have over time built this network and relationships with with a group of in the
Of
community that you
women,
work
yes,
closely
because
with.
sometimes I
Yeah,
may need
women,
it.
and then you
I may need strips of mola to be done just in green and white, or black and
right,
beige. So
right,
I would hire them to do that for me. So they look forward
nice.
to me coming, so that because they know it's business.
Right, and it ensures stability. It ensures stability
Right.
because it's a consistent kind of relationship where you're coming, and not only are you coming in and you are able to get their wares or whatever they have, but you're able to bring in certain materials, and you're bringing them in yarn, you're bringing them in things to
Yes.
help to even grow their business even further. Because, like you said, when they put those things on the back and front of their clothing, they had no idea that others would be interested in this
Yes.
tapestry and the
And the
way that
thing
they work. So,
and the thing is,
so
they
one of
would
the
take
best
it off. They would take it off of their blouses to sell it to you, because
wow,
the older it is, the
wow,
more the more they value it, because a mother could have made it for a child, or a grandmother
wow,
could have made it for their daughter. But they would take it off of the front and back of their clothing to sell it to you because they value it so much.
wow.
I just
This
want
is
to say
amazing because
one more thing. With these baskets, they're now in the Smithsonian and the Fields Museum.
wow,
Yes.
wow, that's
So they're
amazing.
very valued. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it seems to me, because I'm always about building wealth and sustainability. And when I talk about the barriers and we talk about the areas and the flooding and the prickly materials that they are forced to be able to turn into these beautiful baskets and mola, and I think about that. And then I think about some of the best practices. I think about you working together. So this is a partnership, this is a
Yeah,
network. And it's
built over
important,
time.
right, to understand when you go to different spaces in the region to have those partners there, to have that network of individuals that you can trust and can trust you. And so these are all nuggets that I want anyone that's listening to the show to able to hold on to. It's important to be reliable. It's important for sustainability to have people that you can trust in your circle. And you've built that over time. This didn't happen
Yes,
overnight. Like you've been
exactly,
traveling
exactly.
there. Yeah, you've been and so now, as they look to see you come, you're also looking forward to see them, right? And then from that, also building the sustainability, thinking of other creative things to create so that they can even build more wealth and more sustainability in those regions. You're bringing in the cloth and you're bringing in the materials, their creativity along with your resources, they're able to build even more sustainability for their. And so,
Most
listening
definitely.
today,
And
no
I
matter
think,
where you are in the world. And again, Chandra, what I didn't say to you is this show is international. You can catch it all over. You can catch it at Tempo on Saturday. Tempo is one of our partners. And one of the things that I've been told when others come on the show, one of my guests, he got a video of him and someone sent it to him from Africa saying, I see you on my TV. And another was saying, so, this community may actually hear you talking
oh,
about
I
all the
love
awesome
that.
and wonderful work that you do together in partnership. So don't be surprised if someone pulls you up and tell you that they saw you. But I
Yes.
want to talk a little bit more about strategies, right? We work well together. We are one people, one energy. I believe strongly in that. Working with these artisans to really bring this sustainability to the region to me is really, really important. And that's why, I'm emphasizing a lot. These opportunities for these artisans are limited, but because now technology exists the way that it does, that we can travel anywhere in this world. We can have conversations with anyone we want to at any given time, no matter how far the distance is now. And so being able to now tap into those regions and not just travel there, but be able to bring resources back and then to barter, as you say, on back and forth, so that sustainability. Tell me about one of your success stories. One of the artisans whose life was transformed through global decors. I mean, I know you have a network of them, right? But
Yes.
I want to kind of give some flavor to all that you're doing through global decors to really help these women, mostly men too, because like you say, men are earning money, but they're earning differently, and together they're building wealth in their family. And so I want you to talk about some of one of the lives that you were able to transform through global decors and all that you're doing in the world.
Well, I'm not quite sure that I can um, pinpoint how I change somebody's life. I just know that when we meet and when we do business together, there is a wanting to do more business together. Like, for
Mm,
example, when I was in India, I met a group of women who were mostly what you would call the untouchable women. They clean the sewers, they clean the streets, they're really poor. So they would really go from home to home and
mm-hmm,
ask the more rich women
mm-hmm,
with the beautiful saris to
mm-hmm.
please give them what they don't want. And to the extent that they're able to pay, they will pay for these saris, right? And what they do with those ornate pieces, they're beaded, they're lacy, they're silky. They make tapestries that are just breathtaking.
All right, I'm
And
right. We gotta pause for a minute because we gotta take a quick commercial break. But I'm just imagining these tapestries, and we're gonna pause and we're gonna come right back to that. We're talking untouchables and breathtaking in the same sentence. So we definitely gotta come back to that. We're gonna take a quick commercial break and we'll be
thank
right
you.
back to the Coaxum Report. Thank
With
you.
the Bloomberg Small Business Report, I'm Tracy Jonke, brought to you by Fidelity Wealth Management. The American Institute of CPAs is asking the congressional tax writing committees to broaden a deduction used by many small businesses. The GOP's 2017 tax law created a 20% qualified business income deduction for partnerships and other pass-through entities. But the income threshold is capped for some service businesses, such as accounting firms. The CPAs argue it's an equity issue. The current setup charges businesses of similar incomes at different rates. The group is not the only one lobbying Congress about this provision of the 2017 law. The National Federation of Independent Business flew a bunch of small business owners to Washington last week to press not for an expansion of the 20% deduction, but to lobby for its continued existence. It expires at the end of the year unless lawmakers move to extend it. And that's the Bloomberg Small Business.
TravelShare. It Marketplace is an innovative, dynamic, user-friendly, and fully comprehensive global travel marketplace, featuring all Caribbean islands as a premier destinations. TravelShare. It Marketplace featured daily travel news, arts, culture, events, travel weather news, individuals' remote work, flex time, paid time off, family leisure time, and travel deals to better connect the U.S., Caribbean, and the Americas worldwide. So no matter where you want to travel in the world for work or leisure, working remotely or on vacation by yourself, with friends or family, whether by air or sea, TravelShare. It Marketplace makes it easy to get you to your destination. Book now at www.travelshareit.com.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dance, oh, don't stall, better get tuned in to the Tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
In today's fast-paced financial landscape, access to capital is the key to success. At the heart of this revolution is Case Capital Markets, powered by SETI Case. Here, innovation and investment converge, creating a dynamic environment where businesses can thrive and reach new heights. Introducing Grant McGaw, the senior advisor at Case Capital Markets. Grant is a visionary leader, dedicated to connecting businesses with institutional capital and strategic funding. His expertise opens doors to game-changing investment opportunities, making him an invaluable partner for companies looking to scale and succeed in the competitive world of finance. With an impressive 25 years in technology, 9 years in healthcare, and 6 years in investment banking, Grant McGaw has a proven track record. He has successfully closed over $500 million in high-value transactions, seamlessly bridging technology, healthcare, and infrastructure with innovative financial solutions. His experience is a testament to his ability to drive success. Case Capital Markets offers businesses direct access to over 32,000 venture capital firms, private equity funds, family offices, and institutional investors. This network empowers mid-market companies with under $100 million in revenue to scale beyond their limits, unlocking unprecedented growth potential. Debt, equity, growth capital, public offerings. These are the building blocks of the future of capital access. Whether you're scaling a business, seeking investment, or exploring market expansion, Grant McGaw is your trusted partner. Together, you can unlock capital and create long-term financial success. The future belongs to those who take action. Are you ready to elevate your business?
Welcome to our TV network, your ultimate destination for all things exciting and essential. From mouth-watering food to the latest in fashion, health, education, music, movies, and news, plus thrilling sports and breathtaking travel. Our TV network brings it all to you. Tune in today and experience the best of every world, all in one place, rtv.network.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So, again, to those of you that are just joining us, this is the Coaxum Report. I'm Terry Coaxum, your host. And I am joined today by Sandra, and we're talking, she's a decor enthusiast, global decor, Ma'atlin, and she, and you can catch her, and we'll talk about it later on, but you can catch us on Amazon, on Roku, on Apple, OurTV.network. I encourage you to download the app so you can catch us any Wednesday at 1:30. We're also simultaneously on WSTX Bloomberg. And you are now listening to the Coaxum Report. And Sandra has been sharing some wonderful experiences of her working, in different rural areas with artisans that are doing some amazing work. And when we took a break, we were talking about India. We were talking about India and some women that she's working with called the Untouchables. But before that, let me just take you on a quick journey that Sandra took us on in the beginning. So Sandra was a healthcare and a healthcare administrator, and she was diagnosed with cancer. And then she and her husband decided that they would travel the world. And in doing so, she really did some wonderful things. She ran into some beautiful people in rural areas, artisans in Panama, and her love for all things, had her to bring together these relationships, this network of individuals that are doing all this beautiful work, and to help them sustain in their rural areas. And then now she's talking about, we started talking about Panama and all the wonderful things that they're doing. And then she started now talking to us about life-changing experiences. And she started talking about India, where these women were known as the Untouchables because they clean the sewers and they clean the streets. And they were able to go house to house to individuals and collect things that they were not using or did not want or were going to discard. And she was talking about turning them into breathtaking tapestry. And so we had to take a quick commercial break. We're back now, but untouchable and breathtaking. I want to see how we got to that place and then what we are able to do with all these beautiful tapestries that they're able to create in India. Sandra, please.
The tapestries are, as I said, breathtaking. And they are just, when you look at it, you cannot believe that women who are uneducated, who are obviously extremely poor, not really welcomed in polite company, and they're able to do such amazing things.
Wow.
So to the extent that you can say you change somebody's life, I'm just hopeful that the ability to be able to connect with them and to get to purchase their tapestries and to be able to really expose those tapestries,
That's
to whomever I come in contact with. Everyone is always so intrigued by it and, really move forward to purchasing it because it's so amazing.
yeah, amazing.
That's all I can.
Amazing story. When you told me about it before, I was like, wait, Untouchables and these breathtaking, amazing tapestries. And you're like, you have to see it for yourself. It makes me want to now go into your marketplace, your online marketplace, and to be able to purchase some of this stuff, because I already understand that it's coming from a place where you are helping with sustainability. And I always wonder about, the ethical sourcing and fair compensation, and just hearing your story and understanding that that is what your business is about, making sure that it's equitable, making sure it's fair, and that we are able to pour back into the communities that you're going into, and so much so that you're actually bringing in materials and you're bringing in, fabric, and you're bringing in thread, and you're helping them to even to build, to gain this, even better things that they can create, because the creativity is already there, right? So
Right.
you're now bringing in the materials, and you're bringing in the fabric and bringing in the yarn. Then they're able to now take their creativity to a whole nother level with this fabric and what they already have. Because that basket you just showed me, that is in the Smithsonian, by the way.
The Smithsonian and the
Is
Fields Museum, yes.
Yeah,
And
it's amazing.
over time, when you build these relationships, you know what people need.
Ah,
I know because of the kind of work, the kind of not the kind of work the mola looks. When you look at it, it's very intricately sewed. So
right, right,
they need thread.
right,
They
right,
need
right.
cotton fabrics. So over time, you learn what is needed in that
That's right.
situation, and to suit both of you, because they do barter.
That's
So
right. That's right.
I bring that in whenever I go. I bring that in. And it's a good thing because I can buy the big reels of thread,
That's
y-
right.
you
That's right.
know that they probably couldn't get there.
That's right.
So it really makes a difference.
And
But
it also makes a difference for you, because I can see the joy in your face when you're sharing what you're able to do. And relationships matter, right? Asking questions, knowing what people need matter, right? Observing and adapting, providing value. I mean, these are all things, because they're not just creating these things, they're value to themselves and to their community, because they're
community,
able to sustain themselves with what they're doing, and that in itself is amazing.
and you
That in
see, for
itself is
me,
amazing.
yeah, for me, I'm a child of a rural environment.
Mm,
I'm the daughter of farmers, and
wow.
so I was brought up in an environment where there wasn't a lot, but the little that we had was nourishing
That's
and
right.
sustaining. And so when I go into these communities, I feel what they feel. I've
That's
been
right.
there, you know.
Wow.
And so when you go in with the respect for community, respect for culture, respect for the environment, they don't have a lot, you
Right.
know.
I think,
So you really respect, you really really can feel what they feel in a natural way.
it's funny that you say that, because I teach at Medgar Evers College, and when I'm teaching small business owners as well as public administrators, the one thing that I tell them that they must do is have that cultural diversity and that respect for
Hmm.
whatever culture they're going into, and they
Yeah,
must have a knowledge of it too. So you're not just going in to a space to save all the whatever you think you're going to do. No, you're going to go in, and I love what you said earlier. You're asking questions. You're
yes,
understanding what their needs are. You're paying attention to what they need. And then you're helping them by bringing in what they need. And you're also respecting their culture, respecting
exactly.
the diversity and the difference, and being able to pour into that. You're not trying to change anyone.
Change
You're
anything.
trying to meet them where
Right.
they're at and take them to the next level. And I think that's what's important in whatever business you do, right? That is
Exactly.
really important in whatever service you're delivering. And so that's why I think this is so amazing. So what's your vision for Global Decors in the next 5 years?
Wow. I well, I'm at a stage in my entrepreneurship that it's kind of crescendoing at this point. I
Mm,
I have I have gone from hospital management to owning a window treatment franchise
mhm.
to global decors, the traveling, the product designing and all of that. So at this stage of my life, I am grateful for the journey. I'm grateful for being open to the idea of pivoting when you need to.
That's right.
See,
That's right.
in a journey, you got to know when to change course.
That's right.
You got to know when this is not working or that's working better than before or whatever. So for the next 5 years, I kind of want to just settle into what I have now.
That's
And
right.
I am not quite sure because of where I am at this
That's right.
point in my
Wow, that's
career.
amazing. And that in itself is a nugget, right? So
Right.
really having that self-assessment and analyzing where you are and then
Mhm.
knowing what you need to do to pivot to the next level. So I know, it's funny how time flies when we're having fun, but the show is almost over.
Oh
But I want
boy.
you to leave a final thought or a final solution with our listening audience. Like, what is something that you would say to anyone that's listening today about your journey and how you got to where you are? And I mean, it's a tenacious journey, a journey of being an administrator to a diagnosis to now what you're doing and just, loving it every day. What would you leave with the listening audience to inspire and encourage them to take it
Mhm.
to the next level?
I think that whatever you do, be passionate about it.
Mm,
Find out what you need to know about it. You
that's
can't
right.
just jump around and I'm doing this, I'm doing that. No, no. You have to know exactly, why you were brought to the place that you are. And then when
Mm,
you decide that this is what I want to do, know everything about it.
wow,
Find out all that you can so that you become a master of that craft. It's
that's right.
important.
That's
You
right.
can
And that's
you
in
have
anything. Hmm.
yes, exactly.
That's in
And
anything.
and own it by the way you go about it, feel it.
Mm,
So I think that is what and be and pivoting is very important. Know when to pivot.
know when to pivot. So understanding, knowing when to pivot, being able to pivot when it's time, right?
Yes,
But being that market research, that industry research, understanding where you are, where you're going, where you need to be is really important. That proper planning is what we call it when we're looking at business plans. So having that proper planning in place. We need a business plan because we need a direction.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is
And
amazing.
and in the future, the business plan, that's what I mean about sometimes you write a business plan and it looks perfect. And you start and you're doing the best you can, but somehow either the time, the what's happening in the society, all of that changes because COVID changed a lot of big black businesses.
Right.
It did.
And this is it. I mean, but I'm leaving this final thought. Like you said, changes happen, knowing when to pivot, knowing why you pivot, and then understanding it. Thank you so much
It
for
was a
being on the
pleasure.
Coaxum Report. It was truly a pleasure having you on, and continue to do super amazing things in this world. Take care and be blessed. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Dr. Coaxum. I appreciate you. All the very
You're welcome.
best.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
TravelShare. It Marketplace is an innovative, dynamic, user-friendly, and fully comprehensive global travel marketplace, featuring all Caribbean islands as a premier destinations. TravelShare. It Marketplace featured daily travel news, arts, culture, events, travel weather news, individuals' remote work, flex time, paid time off, family leisure time, and travel deals to better connect the U.S., Caribbean, and the Americas worldwide. So no matter where you want to travel in the world for work or leisure, working remotely or on vacation by yourself, with friends or family, whether by air or sea, TravelShare. It Marketplace makes it easy to get you to your destination. Book now at www.travelshareit.com.
Welcome to our TV network, your ultimate destination for all things exciting and essential. From mouth-watering food to the latest in fashion, health, education, music, movies, and news, plus thrilling sports and breathtaking travel. Our TV network brings it all to you. Tune in today and experience the best of every world. All in one place, rtv.network.